Hey guys, so today's video is going to be a book review on the book Fallen in Love by Lauren Kate. It is actually like an in-between book between Passion and Rapture, so I guess you could call it like book 3.5. But before I get into talking about this book, I wanted to talk to you guys about something that I put in the review, or like the info section of I think it was my last book review. I actually put a link to it. It's called Goodreads.com. And for all of you guys that are obsessed with books like I am, this is an amazing, amazing site. And I'm not sponsored by this or anything. I just really love the site. It's basically like, what do you call it? Like Facebook for bookworms, I guess. On there you can like, they set them up by like shelves or whatever they call them. There's like currently reading, to read, and already read. And you search through, you search their search bar for any book that you want to find, and they basically have every single book on there. I think I've read something somewhere like the last few days where it's like 5 books are added like every 5 seconds or something like that, and so they have like any book you would want to find. And then on there you can click on like what shelf you want to add it to, and then you can also choose like your own shelves. You can make up your own shelves that you want, any type of shelf you would want to name it. You can put on there. There's also a bunch of other things. There's like book clubs on there. You can review each book that you've already read. You can like do like 1 out of 5 stars on it, and you can comment on people's reviews. When you search the book, they have all of the reviews that people have written on there listed. It's just this really big community that I just think is amazing. Like I have so many books that I like to read, and you know, I don't have a way to keep track of them all, and so it's so easy for me to just go on my like currently reading or my to read or my already read books just to see like, you know, what books I think I might want to read. And you know, you can find, I found so many books on that website that I would never even thought of, you know, doing or reading before until I saw them on there. And if you're thinking about reading a book, they have like thousands of reviews that people have written on there, so you can get a pretty good idea of whether you'd want to read it or not. Okay, that's a long intro. I'm going to get into the review. Okay, so this book is, like I said, an in-between book. It is made up of 4 different stories. The 4 different stories are, they're all on Valentine's Day. I forgot to say that. They're all on Valentine's Day, and it does take place between Passion and Rapture. It is actually a past life of Luce's that we haven't seen yet. So it's about like one of the past lives that we didn't see in Passion, and it happens to be on Valentine's Day. So there's 4 stories in here. The first story, I think I probably should have figured this out. Okay, so the first story is about Shelby and Miles. The second story is about Roland. The third story is about Ariane, and the fourth story is about Luce and Daniel on the first Valentine's Day that they have ever spent together. The stories kind of intersect a little bit, so they're all happening like on the same day in the same past life, and they're all pretty much there at the same time. So like some of them are actually like the Luce and Daniel story, I think, is the Luce and Daniel from that era, and like the Roland and the Shelby and Miles ones are from like them traveling back in time, and then the Ariane one I'm pretty sure is from that era as well. Okay, so let's jump into the first story. Okay, so the first story with Shelby and Miles in it is they have just found Daniel in Passion, and Daniel tries to send them home, but they end up in medieval England, which is where this story takes place. And they think they're at home, but they're actually not. And so they start off trying to find another fallen angel to travel through their announcer to go home, but that doesn't really work out so well. And so they actually find Luce from this era, and they try to, you know, make her day better because she seems kind of down. They try to make her day better. They also find Roland, who actually is the Roland from the future, so he's back there in that era as well. And he is got his own agenda, and so he tries to send them, he said he'll send them back after the Valentine's Day fair, which is the next day. So they kind of, you know, have their own little fun for that day, and they end up falling in love, which my thoughts will be on that at the end of the book. Okay, so the second book in this story is about Roland. And in the beginning of the story, we find out that Roland was actually in love with the girl from this era named Rosaline. And he is traveling back in time to find Luce, but he ends up in this era, and he remembers that he was in love with this girl, so he goes to find her. This is like 5 years or something past the time that he actually fell in love with her, and so it's been like 5 years past, so she dated him like 5 years ago in this era. So he goes to apologize to her, but when he gets there, he finds out that she is actually married with a child, one child, and I think another child on the way. And so he decides that he can't talk to her just because he doesn't want to ruin her life as it is right now. And he overhears an argument that she has with her husband, and her husband's going to war, and she does not want him to leave because, you know, she doesn't want him to die or get injured or anything like that because they have 2 children. And so Roland thinks that because he can't apologize to her, at least he can, because he's the one who screwed up the love. He's the one who didn't want to tell her that he was an angel, and so he just broke her heart. So he intercepts the husband and basically chews him out and tells him that he needs to go back to his wife right now. And he does that, and so at least he's helped her in some way. The third book in this story is about Ariane. It's about the Ariane from this time, or from the medieval era, and it's about the story of her falling in love with a girl named Tess, or another fallen angel named Tess. We found out that she actually fell in love with Tess before either of them chose a side, like after the fall, before either of them chose a side. And the story is actually after they have both chosen sides, and they are sneaking around behind Lucifer's back because I think Tess is like one of the higher ups in hell, like to Lucifer or something, so Lucifer definitely would not agree with her dating Ariane. And Tess comes to tell Ariane that she needs to choose a side, that Lucifer said it was okay, that she should come to hell with her, or like choose Lucifer's side. And Ariane has already chosen heaven, and she stays true to her beliefs, and so Tess gets really upset and they get in a big argument. Ariane ends up leaving, and then she like notices something's wrong, and so she goes back to find Tess, and she finds Tess trying to cut off one of her wings because Tess says that if she can't have her, she needs something to remember her by, and the only thing to remember her by would be to cut off one of her wings to remember the hurt that she has caused. And Ariane tries to stop her, and this is where we find out where Ariane got her scars on her neck. The only thing that's can injure a fallen angel is a star shot or another angel's blood, and I'm not sure if it's like another, like the opposite side's blood, or if it's just any angel's blood, but she tries to stop her and she gets the blood all over her neck, and it like burns her neck, so that's how we find out that she got that. And Ariane, you know, tries to help her, but she ends up knowing that it's just useless, and so she leaves, and then she goes back to the Valentine's Day fair. The last story in this book is about Luce and Daniel. It starts off with Luce traveling back through an announcer, and she finds her past self, and she accidentally ends up cleaving with her. And so Bill tells her that this is just like a breather, like she doesn't need to learn anything in this era, she just needs to spend time with Daniel because it's the only Valentine's Day that they've ever spent together. So Luce ends up going back to like her house, like her sister finds her, and she end up going back to her house, and she meets her family and her friends, and she just has a really good time getting ready for the fair, hanging out with her friends at the fair, hanging out with her family at the fair. She doesn't find Daniel for the most part the whole entire day. She ends up finding Cam. I'm pretty sure he's the Cam from that era. Yeah, he is. And she dances with him. But finally she finds Daniel. Daniel finds her. And he takes her away to this romantic spot filled with peonies and candles, and they just spend the rest of the night together and are finally happy that they just get to be together. Okay, so my thoughts on this book are, I was actually pretty happy with this book. It obviously wasn't as good as the other books, but it was really nice having some filler information for some of the things that weren't talked about in Passion, and even Rapture, because I've read that already. It was just nice having some of the information, like we found out about Ariane's scar, and just, I don't know, just some other stuff, you know. Let's talk about the first book. The first book, I don't know, it was okay. I mean, I wasn't really happy that Miles and Shelby ended up falling in love. Like, I just thought that was really strange, just because, like, there was never any hint of it in any of the other books, so it was just really weird I think that she like I think like Lauren Kate dug herself into a hole in Passion, or Torment. Yeah, she dug herself into a hole with Torment and created a love triangle and didn't know how to get out of it, and so she just kind of like, I don't know, made a really weird ending to it, I guess. I don't know. I mean, it was okay, but it was just kind of strange. The one with Roland, I was actually really excited for that one. We got to see Roland, like, we got to learn about Roland before he, you know, became this hard, like, angel. Like, he just doesn't have a lot of emotion in him in, like, the, you know, in the books and stuff. And so we learned that he was just this happy, carefree guy before he lost his love. And so it was just really nice to see that. Yeah. Okay, so the next book was Ariane, and I was really excited because we got to see how she got her scars, because they always talk about that, and like they always talk about how like nothing can hurt an angel, but you know, somehow she has scars. And so we found out how she has her scars. The only other thing that I thought was kind of strange, I mean, I'm not like biased, like not biased isn't the word, but okay, I didn't know like Ariane was a lesbian, which isn't like a problem. I don't have a problem with it at all. I just didn't expect it, you know. It was a really nice story though. Like their love story is kind of sad. It's just really unexpected. Next book, Luce and Daniel's story. It was okay. I mean, it was nice because we finally just got to see them actually just in love without no other like outside forces or like problems or anything. It was just the two of them actually in love, you know, because we never really get to see that in the other books as much. So this was just like a whole, you know, few chapters on just them being together and like Luce having fun and just no other distractions, I guess. So yeah, overall I liked this book. I would probably rate it like a 4 out of 5, I would say. You know, it was a really, really quick read. For those of you that are wondering, it's like 200 pages, so it's probably about half the size of all the other books. Yeah, I mean, I liked it. Okay, so that's about it, I guess. Go check out Goodreads.com if you're a really big avid book lover. It is an awesome site. Yeah, and go check out my other reviews. I'll have them linked down below, and look out for Rapture, that is coming in like a few days. I promise I will have it up. I've kind of been slacking on these when I said I was going to put them up right away, but yeah, that's coming in a few days, probably like 3 or 4 days. Yeah, okay, so that's it. I guess I'll see you guys in my next video. Bye.